Yo, what's happening, gamers? Welcome to Tricky Gym. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully you're having a lovely Thursday and are ready for some Pokemon TCG action. We've got Gym Leader Challenge League Night, week number 9 of the 2026 season coming right at you. And folks, we are just about a week and a half away from the Mega Evolution 6K happening at Full Grip Games. I know the Pittsburgh Regional Championships are happening this weekend as well. So a lot of people are going to be attending the Pittsburgh Regional Championships. Good luck to everybody who is making the trip out there. And then the following weekend, going to be the Gym Leader Challenge and Standard Mega Evolution 6K doubleheader. We've got a $3,000 standard Mega Evolution legal event happening on Saturday, September 27th, here at Full Grip Games, and a Gym Leader Challenge 3K featuring the newest cards from Mega Evolution happening on Sunday, September 28th. Should be a great time. Hopefully I'll get to see many of you there. And if you can't make the trip out, fear not. I'll be streaming the entire events with my friends JW Creewall and Riley Hulbert right here on Tricky Gym on both Twitch and YouTube. So, should be a lot of fun. And you know what else is fun, chat? Gym Leader Challenge. We've got GLC League Night here at Full Grip. With round number 1 going up now. And round number 1, we have got Thad versus Ben. Does look like it's going to be a little bit of a lightly attended night for us here at Full Grip, as many of our locals will be out traveling to the Pittsburgh Regional Championships. I mean, many of our employees here at Full Grip Games are at the Pittsburgh Regional Championships vending. So if you're attending, please visit the Full Grip Games booth. Help support the shop at the Pittsburgh Regional Championships. And say hello. We've got my wife Natalie's going to be there, and many of our, Full Grip Games employees are going to be there. Tricky Hideout co-host Heather is going to be there as well. Should be a lot of fun. And I know Mike Zealy and John Patterson just embarked on their trip out to Pittsburgh as well. So I do know some of our Gym Leader Challenge locals will be in attendance at Pittsburgh too. I got a question in YouTube. What deck would I bring to the 3K? Oh, for Standard? For Standard, maybe I bring my Mega Venusaur EX deck that I just released a video on YouTube. That deck is pretty freaking sweet. Gotta say, it's been a lot of fun to play. For Gym Leader Challenge, I've got a special Psychic Brew I've been working on, which I am also very excited about. I've been trying to get some of our Full Grip locals to try out one of these new decks that I'm building. It's we'll see if anybody bites. Looks like round number 1 is just about to get underway. Ben Morse playing Water. I know Ben said that he attended a Gym Leader Challenge League on Tuesday and won with Water. So he's probably feeling the pump right now. If I had to guess, feeling that Hydro Pump love after a Tuesday win. I think there's a shop up the way from us that runs Gym Leader Challenge League nights on Tuesday nights. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. But the more Gym Leader Challenge leagues, the better, honestly. Looks like Ben starts with the Mulligans. Got Lapras as his opener. Lapras is so good. more I play with Hydro Pump, the more I realize the utility of Lapras. Being able to just one energy confuse is just so nuts in Gym Leader Challenge. Can really slow the pace of the game down, which water often will want, so that it can set up Hydro Pump attackers, set up energy acceleration. And I'm excited to see what that is brought to the table as well this evening. Yeah, Hydro Pump is quickly becoming one of my favorite Gym Leader Challenge decks. I'm really liking Trevor Redding's build from the Destined Rivals 3K. It is just a very strong deck with 3 different items that can all search out 2 water energy from the deck. You've got Capacious Bucket, Professor's Letter, and Earthen Vessel. Just so many options to go get those energy out of the deck. A lot of great setup supporters as well with Irida and Green's Exploration. I'm also a huge fan of Wishy Washy. Wishy Washy in the Hydro Pump decks. 180 hit points, just absolutely enormous for a basic water Pokemon. Of course, it does have that scatter ability, which can sometimes toss it back into the deck, but 130 damage, Hydro Splash is very good. Flying Type Trainer over on Twitch asking, what will be my streaming schedule for the 6K tournament weekend at Full Grip? Well, I am going to start streaming shortly before the tournaments begin on both days. And I think, oh lordy, let me pull up fullgripgames.com and see what time the tournaments actually begin. They begin at the same time every single weekend, but like honestly, just like not a very detail oriented person, which is like not my strength as a human being, you know, is knowing the details to things. So I'll get back to you on that. Looks like Ben's got a Friggy down. Single energy to Lapras and a pass over to Thad, who's going second. So Thad gonna open with Buddy Buddy Poffin. Got that Giratina from Lost Thunder in the active spot. Giratina from Lost Thunder, very popular attacker in the Psychic deck. It's got the Distortion Door ability, which just allows you to reuse and recycle the attacker over and over again, while also placing damage counters on your opponent's bench, which is great. It's also got the Shadow Impact attack for 3 energy, does 130 damage. That's kind of like par for the course as far as like big basic attackers go in Gym Leader Challenge. Historically speaking, like 3 for 130 is just like pretty decent, very vanilla average damage output. However, Power Creep, you know, has made it so that that number is starting to inch higher and higher. And guess who forgot to start the timer? Me. All right, so here we go. Yeah, that number is just creeping higher and higher as the years go on. It seems like, you know, nowadays I almost kind of expect a big basic attacker without a rule box to do like 160 damage. And I know that's crazy, but like you look at Pokemon like Iron Boulder, which can do 170 for 2. You look at Ogie Dogie over in the Fighting Pool, can do 170 for 2. You've got Necrozma, right? Can do 160 for 3, which, you know, is obviously conditional. Most of all the attacks are always conditional. There's always like something you have to do. But now, to answer the question earlier, my stream schedule for the weekend of the 6K, I'll be starting streams shortly before 10 a.m. on both days. Both the standard 3K and the Gym Leader Challenge 3K both begin at 10 a.m., so I would hope to be live by 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That would be... I would like to be live for at least 30 minutes before... Now, that's my goal. Be live for 30 minutes before the show starts. But, like, in all honesty, do I ever accomplish that? Usually not. But that's my goal. And it's because the production side of things just always comes up. There's just always something on the production side of things that just comes up. And just makes starting on time difficult. Always. Yeah. But we'll see. The goal will be 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Ben has got a very solid turn himself. He's got Buddy Poffin to go get Remoraid and Sobble for the bench. And then Irida can get him a water Pokemon and an item card out of the deck. Could just go Rare Candy Excalibur. I don't know if that'll be the optimal move here, judging on whatever else he's got in his hand. You know, that might not be the play. It looks like it might be like a Timer Ball or Evo Soda with Arctibax type situation. So that's what Ben is getting. Evo Soda with Arctibax. Evo Soda will allow him to go get the Octillery out of his deck for next turn, which is probably something that he'll want. He doesn't have access to abilities right now, but does have Guzma in hand. So the Wobbuffet that Thad has in the active spot is slowing this game down with its Bide Barricade ability, making it so that all abilities other than psychic abilities in play stop working. It only works if Wobbuffet is in the active spot. This is one of the strongest cards, honestly one of the strongest cards in Gym Leader Challenge format. The ability to stop all other types of abilities while it's in the active, it's just crazy, right? On a basic, it's got a usable attack as well. The attack's not, too broken. It would be very easy for the attack to be too broken, but it's like a very balanced attack considering how powerful the Bide Barricade ability is. It looks like Thad gonna Ultra Ball for Kirlia. Good old Kirlia. May have rotated out of standard formats this past year, but still present with us in Gym Leader Challenge formats for its Refinement ability. You can use Refinement to discard a card from your hand, draw 2 cards. Great for helping the Psychic deck churn a little bit, see more cards, and continue setting up. Now, Thad does not have an Energy Accelerator in play right now. That would be my biggest concern. Also, just discarded Crispin. So, Crispin could accelerate a Psychic and a Dark into play. Decided not to play that as supportive for turn. Instead, going to Marnie with the Kirlia up, and I'm sure that Thad will want to either find an Inkay or a Not-To this turn. I do see Mysterious Treasure there, which Thad could play to go establish one of those energy accelerators, but yeah, at this point, Thad really needs to start thinking about how he's going to get multiple energy online. We do see that he just discarded a Psychic Energy off of Refinement. Does have Energy Retrieval in hand, so I see why that was the selection. However, no other energy to speak of, so I'm wondering if Thad will use the Mysterious Treasure in his hand, go get either Inkay or Not-To, or just maybe could be content slapping a Psychic Energy onto Iron Boulder. If you get one attachment onto Iron Boulder this turn, then you don't necessarily need any energy acceleration to keep up next turn, assuming the Wobbuffet goes down. Looks like Ben was able to find the Octillery anyways, so that is quite good, as it gives him some board stability. And Ben has got a big Colress for 8. And gets to shuffle his hand into his deck and draw a card for each of the total number of bench Pokemon in play. So there are 8 bench Pokemon in play. That's a shuffle draw of 8. Colress is such a powerful supporter card once players start to establish their boards. And here comes a timer ball. Flip 2 coins for each heads. You get to search your deck for an evolution Pokemon. Ben does flip 1 heads. So it finds Baxcalibur to get it online. And then with the 70 damage already on that active Wobbuffet, Lapras going to be cleaning up. Taking the first knockout of this game. With the Hydro Pump attack. Hydro Pump dealing 70 damage right now. And Lapras just doesn't really jump off the page at you. It's got an ugly retreat cost of 3. But its attacks are both very good. Confuse Ray, like I said, can buy a ton of time early on in the game. And Hydro Pump just ramps on the first couple turns of the game as well. Turn 140, turn 270. Ooh, Silent Lab actually makes it so that Wobbuffet's Bide Barricade is turned off, and now Ben is free to use his abilities as we see Drizzile coming into play with that Shady Dealings ability. And it looks like Ben was able to search out the Hisuian Heavy Ball to go get Wailmer. And Wailmer, of course, evolves into the absolutely fantastic Wailord with 240 hit points. And that is going to be the preferred attacker for Ben in this matchup. And in every matchup, frankly. And Ben is kind of just like really popping off here under Wobbuffet lock. Getting all of these Pokemon set up. Now abilities online because of the Silent Lab turning off Wobbuffet. I gotta say, Thad has got to be worried about this very aggressive start. As the Wobbuffet goes down, and Ben gets to take the first prize of the match. Now, Thad does have Mew from Celebrations, which can use its ability to search for an item card when it's in the active spot. You get to look at the top 6 cards of your deck. Take an item you find there, put it into your hand, but not under Silent Lab. It's true. Silent Lab's turning off all those basic Pokemon's abilities. We do see Thad starting off with a Refinement. Yeah, Silent Lab's just one of those like forever good cards in Gym Leader Challenge formats. Pokemon has not ever printed a stadium that just says all abilities stop working. Silent Lab, it's one of those. It's like about as good as it gets, right? All basic abilities stop working. It's pretty good. Pokemon is printed, you know, why am I spacing on it? There's the Ice Stadium, right? That made it so that your rule box Pokemon couldn't have abilities. And then Power Plant. Yeah, Path to the Peak, excuse me. Yeah, of course. Of course, Path to the Peak, yes. Pokemon printed Path to the Peak in the Sword and Shield block, which turned off all rule box Pokemon's abilities, which of course had a very large impact on standard format, but no impact on Gym Leader Challenge, as you cannot play Pokemon with a rule box in Gym Leader Challenge format. And then previously, we had Power Plant, which turned off all GX Pokemon's abilities. in the Sun and Moon era, Silent Lab just turns off all basic Pokemon's abilities. They should print a stadium that says it turns off all Stage 1 Pokemon's abilities, and then another stadium which turns off all Stage 2 Pokemon's abilities. They should just complete the trio, you know? Give us a Stage 1 shutdown stadium, and give us a Stage 2 shutdown stadium. That would be, like, really hype, honestly. It would be very good. Now, Thad has or a stadium that shuts down all evolutions Pokemon's abilities. I think, I know I'm not the only one that wants a Hisuian Heavy Ball for evolution Pokemon one day. Apparently, there's already that card that exists. Like, it was a Japanese promo printed during, like, the Diamond and Pearl era that's apparently, like, thousands of dollars. It's not legal in Gym Leader Challenge, of course, but, like, the conceptually, the Hisuian Heavy Ball for evolutions does exist. It actually predates Hisuian Heavy Ball by like a decade, which is kind of funny. Like more than a decade, like 20 years. Like, way more than a decade. Now, Thad actually had a really big turn this last turn, was able to use Guzma to bring up Ben's Baxcalibur and match hand sizes to take the KO with Iron Boulder's adjusted horn attack, dealing 170 damage. Thankfully, Ben does have Frostmoth on the bench, which is kind of like your backup Baxcalibur. I mean, that's why this card is in the deck, right? It's easier to set up than Baxcalibur. It's easier to get online, and similarly can accelerate energy into play. Now, something that you have to note here is that Ben did decide to attach that splash energy to the Wailord, which cannot be accelerated via Frostmoth. So it's actually a little bit risky. Oh, I didn't see that Ben was actually using... Okay, it was not risky at all. I didn't see that Ben was using Abyssal Hand with the Inteleon in hand. I was going to say, yeah, because if you miss the switch out off of that Abyssal Hand, then you actually will not be able to manually attach to the Inteleon to retreat it. But looks like Ben had actually planned on using the Inteleon Shady Dealings all along, and now with the help of Town Map gets to flip his prizes over, and we just see how absolutely insane this game state is from Ben. I mean, just absolutely nuts. This is why Hydro Pump is the real deal. This is why Hydro Pump is one of the premier decks in Gym Leader Challenge format, is because you just get the Wailord up and going, and decks cannot really deal with it, right? You get that Wailord going, you've got Inteleon to search out exactly what you need every single turn. Drizzile Shady Dealings, Inteleon Shady Dealings. It's funny because it's a stage 2 line, but it actually increases your deck's consistency, right? Like, games where you prize Drizzile in the water deck really hurt. You depend on that Shady Dealing ability so much in order to set this deck up. And really, you could trace Shady Dealings. You could trace like Water Success all the way back to Shady Dealings, really. I mean, Shady Dealings just makes this archetype so consistent. And it's no wonder, right? Because Inteleon was an absolute rock star in standard format as well. It was like that good. It's not just a Gym Leader Challenge card. And Wailord's stats are just phenomenal in Gym Leader Challenge format. 240 hit points, dealing 210 for, damage for 4 energy. It is an energy-hungry attacker. I mean, that's always the kind of trade-off with a Pokemon like Wailord, is like, yeah, it's got a huge amount of HP, but it also is probably going to take a huge amount of energy in order to do anything. But that's why you play the Hydro Pump. Or that's why you play the Rain Dancers, right? That's why you play your Baxcalibur that can just rain energy into play with the Super Cold ability. That's why you play Frostmoth with the Ice Dance. It's actually funny that, like, the Hydro Pump deck is very ice-themed now, right? Since Baxcalibur came into the equation, you know, both of the Rain Dancers, so to speak, are ice-type Pokemon, which is kind of neat. It's more like an Ice Dance deck, right? Yeah, Rain Dance is a thing of the past. It's all about that Ice Dance now. I wish that Pokemon would like keep ability names consistent. Like I wish Baxcalibur's ability name was also Ice Dance. I don't know why that bothers me, but like they're the same ability. Oh, okay, they're not the same ability. All right, never mind then. They're not the same ability. All right, I take that back. Right, because Ice Dance only accelerates to bench Pokemon, but Super Cold accelerates to the active, so that's fine. That's fine. But still, there are Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG that have the same exact abilities, but don't share the same name. I mean, that is certainly a thing. Y'all, thank you so much, Ryan, for the sub in the 65 months. Appreciate you. Hopefully you're doing well. Also, and good luck if you're attending the Pittsburgh Regional Championships. All right, I got a Mew, Mysterious Tail. Look at the top 6 cards. Like, I really enjoy that they kept Dynamotor the same ability name, right, throughout the years. I like that. That's cool. But then sometimes ability names are like themed, right? Like they're thematic. And if an ability name is thematic, sometimes the theme doesn't match the new Pokemon. Like I learned yesterday that there is a who's the Gumshoes? Is it Gumshoes? Who's like the bigger Gumshoes? I don't know. Anyways, the Weasel guy has got the same ability as Orangaru's Primate Wisdom, but obviously it wouldn't make sense if you called it Primate Wisdom. Thank you, Lamberto, for that Prime sub in the 64 months. Dang, I'm really... Is it Gumshoes? It is Gumshoes. All right, it's Young Goose and Gumshoes. That's right. Yes. Gumshoes is the evolution. Very good. Very good. Yes, Gumshoes has an ability that allows you to, switch a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. But Primate Wisdom, I miss saying Primate Wiz, dude. We used to Primate Wiz all over the place with Primate Wisdom. You guys never heard me talk about Primate Wiz, dude? Dang. You guys haven't been watching that long. We had like a whole era of Primate Wiz here. Yeah, it was probably like a whole couple of years. The whole time that card was legal. Yeah, the whole time that Orangaru was legal, I don't think that I ever called it Primate Wisdom. Yeah, Ben's board state is just absolutely phenomenal right now. I mean, it's at the point of no return, really. You've got a clean Wailord. There's no damage on it. Thad's kind of just getting routed, right? Just absolutely annihilated here. Guzma up the Gallade. I mean, goodness gracious, right? Oh, my God. The Wailord is just running rampant. Absolutely disgusting. Hydro Pump for another 210 damage. The Gallade is done. All right, I have this theory. I have a theorem, right? Okay, because I am of the opinion that Psychic has like the strongest general pool of cards in Gym Leader Challenge format. That's like my opinion. Water is like right there too, though. So like between Psychic and Water, I think they got like the strongest pool of cards. But I think that we haven't been building Psychic correctly. I think, what if you cut Gallade? All right, that's my most recent theory. What if you just cut Gallade? What if you just cut Gallade, bro. Honestly, just think about it, because Psychic has a very strong pool of cards, but it's not currently BDIF. Though I think its pool of cards, like, it could be the best deck in format. No, yeah, cutting the entire Gallade line. What if you just cut the entire Gallade line? Like, what has Gallade done for you lately? You know what I'm saying? Like, Dragon got better when you cut the Dragonite, right? I'm just saying, you got to start thinking like that. You got to start thinking lower to the ground. At least there's certainly, I think that there's a way. Yes, all will be revealed in time. All will be revealed in time. All right, Thad's got a judge. Both players will get 4 cards. If that does have a parallel, help maybe limit Ben's board a little bit, though he's already got 2 attackers fully built up. And Giratina going to swing in for not nearly enough. 130 damage with Shadow Impact. That is not going to cut it, folks. $130 damage. Let's see, Malamar is in the prizes for Thad. But just not enough juice there for Thad. As Thad is just getting absolutely out-muscled by this Wailord. Water kind of gets to a point, like, once you got 2 attackers established like this, the abilities don't even matter, right? Like, Water can just play, just keep attaching energy, right? Yo, what's up? I see Eduardo over on YouTube's got a question about Mega Venusaur EX. Yeah, you could play the Regigigas with Mega Venusaur EX. You could use Meganium to make it attack for just 2 energy. And when you're discarding energy, if you watch the gameplay, you see there was a turn where I was able to retreat my Meganium for just 1 energy. Yeah. So, like, the doubling up of Meganium's energy does, you can discard 1 energy with Meganium up and have it count as discarding 2 energy. That's certainly a thing. The only time that doesn't work like that is if it says discard this many energy cards, right? Like, if an attack said discard 4 energy cards, then you would have to discard 4 energy cards, right? But if attack says discard 4 energy, and you've got Meganium in play, then you can just discard 2 energy. I think Raging Bolt specifies, right, energy cards, does it? Discard any amount of basic energy from your Pokemon. No. So Raging Bolt, if you discard 1 grass energy from your board, I think, yeah. No, never mind, because I didn't read the second half. Raging Bolt said it does 70 damage for each card you discarded. So no. So it doesn't work with Raging Bolt because the word card is in there. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. It says it does 70 damage for each card you discard. So you have to read that extra text. And since it says for each card you discard, then Meganium does not double up your effectiveness with Raging Bolt. So no, Meganium does not work with Raging Bolt the way that you might think it does. Yeah, you got it, Eduardo, for sure. Yeah, I was confused reading the first line of Raging Bolt's attack, but then you got to read the second line. The second line is when it clarifies it. All right, Thad's still got 5 prizes left to Ben's 2. And then with a Giratina and counter energy, Thad will actually take a knockout on this Wailord, but is it too little too late? Going to 4 prizes. Ben's got a Floatstone on his Moth, so it's going to give him a very easy time accelerating energy and pivoting, since Frostmoth can only accelerate energy from hand to the bench. Having the Floatstone on the Moth and being able to promote it is very good here. Now, Ben does need an additional energy in order to reach this knockout with Lapras. Notably, Ben did decide to, if he is stuck right here, which he's not, he's got superior energy retrieval, but Ben did decide to keep Inteleon and ditch Octillery. I think that is the correct play for sure. But, you know, if Ben were stuck, then that would feel unfortunate given that decision tree. You probably want 2 energy on Inteleon because Inteleon is also just a really good attacker, right? So, yeah, we're going to see Ben slap 2 energy on Inteleon with Ice Dance, an additional 1 onto Lapras. And then you kind of just chill, right? Like, you've got an extra energy in your hand. You're kind of fine. Got Field Blower still. You could Field Blower the Dimension Valley. Yup, because that is like one of the strongest cards in the Psychic pool. The Dimension Valley, just absolutely nuts. Ben only has to figure out a way to take 2 more prize cards. He's got Versus Seeker in hand, which just should allow him to do that. Pretty much guaranteed. If he could just use Guzma with Inteleon, that's a guaranteed win con. So Lapras going to come up Hydro Pump for 130. Take the knockout on Giratina. We'll see if Thad's got any crazy tricks up his sleeve. Wailord did have Splash Energy. Was the Wailord supposed to go back to hand? Did it get like... Was the Wailord supposed to come back to hand with Splash? No. All right, that's fine.
Hello?
Was the Wailord supposed to come back to hand with Splash Energy?
It did, and then I discarded it with Superior.
Ah. Over. Got it. Okay. Yeah. It was in hand. Bunch of silly gooses here. All right. Yeah, dude. He superiored it. Come on now. Hey, pay attention to the road, guys. Come on, come on. You have to assume that I'm not watching, so I'll believe whatever you say. All right, Tina coming back. But Ben does have that Versus Seeker in hand, making things feel pretty inevitable. The Field Blower in the Dimension Valley was certainly quite good, as that makes it so that Thad is going to have a very tough time attacking this turn. Pretty much gotta go to, you like have to go to Boulder, I think. That has taken a very long time with this decision. But it is, you know, the game's on the line, but still. Yeah, I think Boulder is the only one that makes any sense. And then Raihan. The Raihan play does ensure that Ben will have guaranteed win, because Ben does have Guzma access via Versus Seeker in his hand. So unless Thad is going to get a reset stamp, which is a legal card in Gym Leader Challenge. I mean, you could go get a reset stamp here, and then Ben's kind of... You know, Thad would have to run it back. You know, 4 prizes, but there are only 2 attackers in play, so really you just got to make it through 2 while your opponent doesn't draw anything. Oh, Thad does need to match hand sizes here, and does. And then Ben Morse got Verse Seeker for Guzma, and that is game, y'all. Ben Morse going to be your round 1 victor here at Full Grip Games Gym Leader Challenge League Night. Ben Morse did win at another local shop earlier in the week with Hydro Pump. I know he's probably pretty stoked on Hydro Pump right now. And I imagine that many players probably are, because Hydro Pump is a very good deck. Just very good. Very good, folks. Very good. All right. I saw, Logan, you said that you just watched the finalist little mini doc that I put out on YouTube. Yo, thank you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Or all right, cool. Yeah, if you can figure it out, that'd be great.
We figured it out. It's loud now.
Awesome. Thank you. Where's the shop located? Akron, Ohio. Full Grip Games in Akron, Ohio. But yeah, hopefully you guys got an opportunity to check that video out. Yeah, I've been doing more of that kind of like interview style stuff lately. I've been interested in creating more videos like that. Obviously, I've been working on like kind of those videos for the last couple years, I would say. But if you go and like the 3 videos that I kind of have been working on lately, like the 3 documentary style videos or like more that kind of style video. I did the finalist video. And then obviously the Geno documentary, which is no longer up, but that was a video I was very proud of. I felt like it was really well made, and I'm very proud of that video, even though I'm no longer hosting it on the channel right now. And then I also did the best player in the world video. Yeah, the battle for the title of GOAT, who's the greatest Pokemon TCG player of all time. Yeah, so like all those videos... all those videos I kind of been working on for the last, I would say, couple years, like last like year and a half or so. And if you watched like the finalist video, then, you know, I interviewed with Maze and Pram, who were both featured in the Geno video, and Tord was obviously featured in the GOAT video. And it just... And yeah, so those are kind of like those videos that I've been working on lately. And now that kind of like series of interviews is kind of done, right? Like I've kind of like done all the projects out of that series of interviews that I've done with like those people. So I am embarking on like more of those types of projects in the future. So I'm really excited about it, and I think that I can create some really neat stuff. Yeah, so I'm stoked about that. I think there's going to be some cool stuff. Unfortunately, you know, when it comes to just like videos that I think are really cool, like this finalist video, you know, people on YouTube don't like them as much. Like, you know, this is like 14,000 views for like a really cool like history video where you get to talk to, you know, 3 Worlds finalists. Like, people don't really care as much about that, right? So it's fine. You know, I kind of filmed, you know, this video, I kind of like did those interviews like in between the more interesting ones. You know, obviously, I think like the GOAT video and the Geno video were like 2 videos I was extremely proud of. I think the Geno video might have ended up getting over like 1 million views, honestly. It might have been the first video on my channel to ever get to 1 million views. That's something that'll always kind of like nag me in the back of my mind and wonder if like, you know, because it was really starting to get kind of viral. So... yeah, so that's just like kind of a bummer, but it is what it do. The 5 takeaways video, yeah, I really liked the 5 takeaways video too, honestly. I liked doing that. It was very fun, and it got good reception too, so that like encourages me to do more, right? But then like part of me is like, okay, well, for documentary style videos in the Pokemon TCG, if it's like boring history, people aren't going to want to watch it, right? If you're just like telling stories about the old days, people don't really care. But like people do want to watch something salacious, which is why the Geno video was popping up, because it had buzzwords. You've got, you know, it had drama. It had real drama in it, right? Like had real drama in it. So, but like, anytime you make a video, that like has drama involved, you know, it's like a double-edged sword, right? It has the chance to blow up, but then it also has a chance to blow up in your face. So It's like there's both of those sides of it, right? So, how about a welcome to the world of GLC video? I do have a Gym Leader Challenge introduction video. It's right here. The official introduction to Gym Leader Challenge. Boom. Got it. But I am Patty Source says I've watched like 5 videos of me just talking about Rocket Zapdos. No way there's 5. No shot. No shot, bro. No shot, dude. This video was kind of fun. The inevitability of Gardevoir video, that was kind of a fun one. Yeah. You know, kind of just figuring out. I was really, really excited about the Gino video. It really hurt. It hurt to like have to take that down. But yeah. We go next. You just scoop, you go next, you know? And I think that whatever projects I end up kind of like cooking in the years to come, then you know, hopefully those resonate well also. I think I've got some like cool ideas. Like I'm kind of like, it's been like a roller coaster, right? There's like some days where I kind of like am just too depressed to think, but then there's other days where I'm like kind of going through like a hyper kind of creative like whirlwind in my mind where I'm just like jotting down millions of ideas. That's hyperbole. Lots of ideas. And you know, it's kind of like been that back and forth. I'm cool now, but like certainly for like a week or two, I was like definitely in a creative slump. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I mean, like the next documentary style video, like the Gino video took like a year and a half to make, you know? So like when people are like, yeah, I hope you're working on more, I'm like, I am. Just, you know, might take another year and a half. Like, yeah. See you guys want another documentary? See you in a year and a half. Like, yep. Last one got shot down, so here we are, you know, year and a half. See you guys in a year and a half. That's kind of what it do. So. Is there an ETA on the GLC invitational video? No, I don't have time to produce it. So I planned on writing up a nice little article on it or something like that, but honestly, I don't got time for that either. Alex Carpenter won the Gym Leader Challenge Invitational Full Grip Games. He did, okay? I hate to admit it, but he did win. He won. Yup. Alex Carpenter won. That's it. He won with like Hydro Pump or something. He played against JD with Special Whales in the finals. Yep. Alex Carpenter won the invite. Yep. But I don't have time to produce it. It's too much footage. I got too much catch up to do. I don't have time to produce it. The GLC 3K is like next week, you know? So I don't have time to produce all that. So yeah, Alex Carpenter. I mean, what an insane... I owe that dude 2 trophies now. It's kind of ridiculous. I'm back ordered on Alex Carpenter trophies. I owe him 2 trophies. He earned the first ever Gym Leader Challenge trophy last year. And now I owe him 2 more trophies. It's madness. The dude just like won't stop winning. It's ridiculous. So yeah, Alex Carpenter kind of running it, kind of running the show over at Full Grip Games right now. Put the whole recording on the VOD channel. I did think about that. Just literally upload all the raw games to the VOD channel. Alex Carpenter was like, you gotta do it. And I was like, literally, I was talking to Alex Carpenter. I was like, literally, if it was anybody, if it was anybody else that won the GLC Invitational, I would feel more like guilty about not having uploaded it or like produced it. But Alex wins so much, I'm like, I don't even really feel bad. But Alex is like, I want that one game to be up. There's a really good comeback game. I'm like, all right, sure. All right, here we go. Round number 2 is underway. Here at Full Grip Games, we've got Water on Water, folks. Hunter on Water, Anthony on Water. But it does look like we've got some different kinds of water decks here as Anthony is playing Palafin. Yes. Pig can cut it up for us. Pig hasn't been editing for me this year. I have been solo dolo editing. I've been editing everything released this year. I've edited myself. So if you've got, if you think my editing sucks, yep, it's all me. I've edited every single video, almost every single video this year. I think that's part of why I'm not streaming as much lately. It's because I have to have time to edit. The new the Gym Leader Challenge Museum. Think about the GLC Museum. Yo, the GLC Museum would go crazy. I'm telling you, Pokemon TC. There needs to be a Pokemon TCG museum for sure. Any more plans on top 20 or top 10 videos? I mean, top 20s and top 10s are fun, for sure. There's like always the possibility for top 10s or top 20. It's one of those things where I don't want to like wear it out, you know? But like every once in a while, when the time is right, we'll do a top list for sure. I mean, that's one of those, you know, top 10s, top 20s. Those are always fine videos. They're always fine. Right now, I mean, like my like kind of ambition as a video creator, like now that I'm streaming 2 days a week, I record the tag team podcast every week as well, right? So like as far as like what do I do every week? All right, I stream every Wednesday during the day, something. It's either tabletop gameplay or like set reviews or, you know, TCG Live or whatever. I stream every Gym Leader Challenge League night every Thursday night. I record tag team podcast once a week. And then the rest of the time, I'm editing videos or creating, like writing and actually creating like creative videos, right? Like the top 5 takeaways from Worlds, the inevitability of Gardevoir video, the like all the videos that I've been making lately, like those all, they don't come from a void, right? Like I have to edit those, so those take time. So like I work on those during the week. I brainstorm new ideas. I think about what to do next. I just recorded a new Tricky Hideout video with me and Heather, so I'm going to be producing that like early next week because I have all the footage for it now. I even have the thumbnail for it now. I just need to like actually sit my butt down and edit it, right? And that crap just takes a long time to edit. But like so I have like, you know, a decent amount of stuff that I do like week in and week out. You know, like dare I say, 40 hours of stuff that I do week in and week out. But I am still, like, as a creative person, I really want to release like a YouTube video that just like, I want to release a YouTube video that really pushes the limits of what I as an independent creator can accomplish, right? And really the Gino video is kind of like that for me. I really like kind of pushed my own limits as a video creator and like all that. So like the Gino video, but I've been working on that video for like 2 years. So even through the process of making the Gino video, I've kind of gotten better at that kind of stuff. So I would really like to, I mean, like kind of like big picture, the next frontier for me, like I'd like to make a YouTube video that gets 1 million views. Like I'd like to make a documentary style YouTube video that gets 1 million views. That's like a creative ambition that I have. So like the Gino video may have ended up getting there, but we'll never know, and that's okay. So now we just like, we scoop, we go next, and now I have to start thinking about like what the next big project is, right? So like I always have some big projects that I'm kind of like working on in the background, because those are the projects that like really creatively like fulfill me, I would say. You know, at this point, I've been like a YouTuber for, dang, this is crazy. Hunter's kind of popping off. At this point, I've been a YouTuber for like, I don't know, 7, 8 years. Just doing like the same old stuff, like, gets old, right? It gets old. You get kind of burnt out doing it. So yeah, so now it's like I want to create something that like feels like a professional production. I want to create something that's really captivating, that's really truly interesting, that has the potential to get like 1 million views. That's something. Not just like some viral clickbait garbage. Like I want to make something that's artistically fulfilling and truly interesting. Like something that my parents could watch and they'd be like, dang, that was cool. You know? So that's kind of like where I am feeling motivated creatively. So now I'm kind of just like focusing on that, like what and brainstorming and right now, you know, I'm kind of just starting off with my next project. Like, I'm not going to talk about it yet because it's still in its very early stages. I've got kind of like a couple of ideas that I could chase. But yeah, I don't know. Kind of just starting on the next thing. And we'll see how it goes. Dang, dude. Both these guys are popping off. This is crazy. At first, I thought Hunter was, like, gonna destroy Anthony, but now Anthony's got, like, the whale, right? Yeah, I agree. Flying type trainer, yeah, over on Twitch. Right. If any of you guys are interested to hear, like, the whole story of the Gino documentary and kind of what happened with it, like, I did do, like, a breakdown on the Tag Team podcast on YouTube, so if that's, like, kind of, like, itching your curiosity... You know, I'm not just being, like, intentionally obscure about it. I'm just, like, not... I made the intentional decision that I'm not just going to, like, rehash it over and over and over and over again on Twitch. There's just, like... Or on YouTube. It's just, like, not something I'm going to do. But if you are interested in hearing the whole story, then you can... Then, yeah, you can just check out the Tag Team episode. Tag Team podcast episode on YouTube. I'm not just trying to be, like, cagey about it or whatever, you know? Just, like... It's not something that's just like worth like rehashing over and over again, honestly. So it's one of those deals. All right, Hunter coming back. He's got the Nessa in hand to respond with the wishy-washy. But yeah, I think part of what made the Gino video so interesting was that it was like there was Pokemon in it, but it didn't talk about like what the cards did. It talked about people, right? And that is like universally interesting. Telling human stories is interesting, right? Like human stories with Pokemon as a backdrop, like that's interesting. And that's kind of like what the Geno video accomplished, was that it told like an interesting story, and Pokemon was involved, but like there wasn't any talk about what the cards did. And honestly, if you like talking about what the cards do, like there's, I don't know, maybe like 100,000 people on YouTube who care what the cards do. Right? So like if you're making a YouTube video and you're talking explicitly about what the cards do, there's maybe 100,000 people on YouTube, like 100,000 YouTube watchers who care. Right? But if you're talking about stuff that's like interesting on a human level, then your ceiling is infinite, right? So, you know, as someone who's been creating Pokemon TCG content for like 8 years now, I'm still extremely passionate about the game, of course, but I'm also like a very creatively ambitious person. So when I'm like looking at like, okay, well, how do I make something that's like really more interesting? How do I make something that's like more universally interesting, right? Because there's only so many people in the world who care what the cards do. Like I could have the best tabletop production in the world, you know, outside of the Pokemon Company International themselves. And like that doesn't really matter because there's only so many people who care. So like, you know, and I'm happy to do that. I'm very proud of the productions that I put on here at Full Grip Games and all that. But also part of me wants to be a storyteller as well. You know, I'm also very passionate about telling stories. I like telling stories. It's fun. The very first job that I had out of college, I was a photojournalist, actually, for a small town newspaper. You know, telling human stories is something I really appreciate. I really like doing. So Anthony's got this new Palafin that people have been playing in his deck. The Vanguard Punch Palafin. Personally, I'm like, I think that the Pokemon Company's like production is a little bit too heavy-handed right now. I know that that's like being a little nitpicky, but you know, as someone who, it's like, I think that the whole overlay thing that they do is like a little too much. But that's just because it's hard for me to like accurately judge that though, right? Because I kind of know what all the cards do. So like to me, it's annoying to have all that crap on the screen. Right? Like I know what the cards do, so like it feels like you kind of overcompensate a little bit. And I like get what I thought that what the Pokemon Company International was able to accomplish with like the LED floor at the World Championships, I thought that was like an absolute breakthrough and was like insane. I thought that was incredible. But I think like the gameplay overlay is too busy. You can never see what's in players' hands. The screen is like constantly cropped. It's like a technical feat, obviously. It's like technically very impressive. It's like listening to Eminem rap in 2025, right? Like technically he is a very good rapper, but like it's not very good. Like technically he is rhyming words well, yes. But It doesn't make it good. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's kind of like that. Like, tastefully, the overlay does not feel very tasteful, I should say. Yeah, and the thing is, about, you know, with the lighting on the this is crazy. We've got whale on whale action right now, and Hunter is like got the dominant whale. This is crazy. All right, we're having a whale off, chat. Like, that's crazy. It's freaking whale time out here. Yeah, Japanese streams make more of a point of showing the players' hands. Right, well, yeah. I think, like, the Pokemon Company International understand. So, like, here's the problem. I know the exact problem that the Pokemon Company International is trying to solve. It's the same problem I've been trying to solve for, like, 7 years. It's that the Pokemon trading card game is like the most popular trading card game in the world, but nobody knows how to play. So, like, how do you make the Pokemon trading card game, a game that nobody knows how to play, more watchable to a broader audience? That is the question that me and the Pokemon Company have been trying to answer for about 7 years. I mean, like, really. 7 or 8 years. Like, I've been asking myself that question. I know the Pokemon Company is asking themselves that question. Like, how do you make a game that nobody knows how to play more watchable for a broader audience? Right? And so for a while, I even, like, if you watch my most recent, like, Mega Venusaur video, I decided, you know, my videos used to be more produced. Like, I used to have more animations, more flair, more visual effects. And then I realized that none of that really matters. So then I was like, you know, nobody actually, like, the people who like watching the cards, they don't actually care about all that stuff. They just want to see the cards. And they want to see it edited quick, snappy, and just, like, in a satisfying way. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for now. Is, like, I want my... Like, if you watch my Mega Venusaur video, I just want the gameplay to feel quick, snappy, clear, concise, and I want it to be, I want it to be something that just feels visually, feels good to watch, right? Like, things don't drag on. But then, so, like, when you're editing gameplay, it's much easier to make edited gameplay easier to watch, right? You can, like, have animations, you can do that kind of stuff. But, like, for live gameplay, dude, people take forever searching their decks, shuffling, doing game actions. Everything's a live production, so your ability to have animations and stuff is limited. But even so, you look at, like, the Pokemon Company kind of went all out, right? They went all out. And they, like, spent probably millions of dollars on, like, I would say that the overlay that they've developed for their streams is probably, you know, cost them millions of dollars, I would say. And it's like, you know, does that actually, and then the question is, like, does that make the productions better to watch? You know, all of those little animations, and holy cow, we've got a scoop up net. All of those animations and all of that for, like, the live productions, does it make the production better to watch, right? For me, I prefer like camera angles. I prefer the cards to be the thing that's highlighted the most. I think that this was an incredibly greedy and risky play by Hunter. And, you know, maybe I'm in the wrong. Maybe I'm just like, that's why I'm saying it's impossible for me to judge. It's impossible for me to judge the effectiveness of the Pokemon Company's new overlay because I am somebody who like really cares about camera angles and lighting and like that kind of stuff. And for me, like the best overlay would be one that's like minimal, right? That only tells the most pertinent information. That would be like an ideal scenario for me. But for some people, like, you know, maybe they prefer that. And like it's impossible for me to judge because like I'm someone who's like I am one of like the 1% of viewers who has been playing the Pokemon TCG for like, I don't know, 15 years. Like so like it's impossible for me to say. You know, like I understand that like I am not your everyday viewer. Like I get that. So like I really don't, it is what it is. I kind of don't worry about it too much. Like, you know, Pokemon probably spent millions of dollars on that overlay. You know, hopefully people like it. Yeah, CMT says my 9-year-old loves the overlay. She can figure out what's going on and see what cards might be important. Like that's cool. That's great. That's great. See, and if it's effective in doing that, then wonderful. Yeah, I feel like for me, it kind of kills me a little bit because I'm like, we're turning the trading card game into a video game. That's kind of what the overlay feels like it's doing, right? It's a trading card game. It's a tabletop game, and it's trying to turn it into a video game with like HP bars and all that. I think the floor effects are like brilliant, especially for people watching in the audience. But I do think that like it is all a little bit too much at a certain point. For me personally, but that's like I understand. Like I said again, like I'm 1%. I'm like not even 1%, right? So I have to imagine that the investment in the overlay has been like, good God, Hunter is just going off, dude. He's got they both like knocked each other's mouths out. Now Hunter's got like a freaking Wailord back. Rare Candy backs Caliber. Like, dude, this is crazy. Like these two, this is like the craziest game. Like I can't believe that I've been distracted. Oh, I mean, you guys watched my 5 takeaways video, like the World Championships. The production of the World's Finals was absolutely incredible. I mean, absolutely incredible. I'm like being a little, you know, I like my personal opinion of the overlay, like my personal opinion, frankly, doesn't matter because the Pokemon Company's not trying to appeal to me. They're trying to appeal to, like I said, they're trying to appeal to the people. Like, how do we get people who don't know how to play the Pokemon trading card game, which is most people, to watch the Pokemon trading card game? How do you do that, right? So, like, how do you accomplish that? It's hard, right? It's hard. So, like, I think that the Pokemon companies gamble on the, you know, on the $1 million overlay. That probably it's worth trying, I would say. It is worth trying. Because right now, what's holding Pokemon back from being like a a very widely watched esport. One of the things that holds Pokemon back is that nobody knows how to play the Pokemon trading card game. It's like that's the thing that holds it back, right? Lots of people collect the cards, nobody knows how to play. So like the very gamer kind of video game style overlay is a very intentional thing by the Pokemon company to try and make it so that the tabletop game is more digestible for a wider audience. And I can't knock it for that, because it does probably accomplish that. Whether or not I personally like it is pretty much irrelevant. That does not matter, right? Because it's not a question if I like it, it's a question if people like it. I'm sure like your football purists probably don't like, your American football purists probably don't like the various things that gets, notched up over the game. But, at a certain point, the NFL had to make the game more watchable, so they started investing in things like the amount of technology. Dang, I watched a documentary on how they, inputted the first down line, right? Like it's actually a technological marvel that the first down line exists. Right? Like it's crazy. It's not something that you like really think about as a viewer, because you're obviously like, as a viewer, you're like, oh yeah, they're trying to get to the first down line, right? It's like they have 4 downs to do it. And then the first down line is 10 yards from where they started. And then that's just the whole game, is they're chasing the first down line, right? And then obviously they want to end up in the end zone, but getting that first down line to just like overlay seamlessly on the TV was like a technological marvel when they did it. So, but honestly, my favorite thing about it is it's not intrusive though. I know. Chuck over on Twitch says one time they didn't even have score on time on the screen. I know. Like there was actually a big discussion about not having the score on the screen, because they were like, oh, well, if the score's on the screen, then people won't want to stay tuned because they might just tune it in and the score's super lopsided, so they're not going to want to watch. Like that's the kind of realistic discussion that was happening. It's crazy to think about now, but like, that kind of stuff all had a process too. It did. This game is crazy. This game is absolutely nuts. This game is like as crazy as they come. Really. I mean, Hunter like could be out of resources right now. For sure. I don't know if Hunter did have that turn where he kind of like wasted the scoop up net and the superior on the Wailord. I do think that Pokemon TCG Pocket, that's a good point there over on YouTube. I think that Pokemon TCG Pocket is kind of a great way for people to learn the basics of the Pokemon TCG. I do. I think it's one of the best things that the Pokemon Company has done as far as like making the game more digestible to a wider audience. I mean, for sure. You have to imagine that Pokemon TCG Pocket widened the net of people worldwide who are like familiar enough with the way the Pokemon trading card game works. You have to imagine that that is true. It's hard because you're asking all these kind of nebulous questions, right? Like, how do you teach more people who don't know how to play the Pokemon trading card game to engage with and appreciate the Pokemon trading card game, right? Like, and it's kind of just like a matter of you're trying to win through attrition. Like, you know, putting a sick gamer overlay on your world championships, holding the world championships in an arena, creating TCG Pocket, which is a very low barrier to entry, low complexity game. God, this is crazy. All right, can Hunter win? Do you think Hunter's cooked, bro? I mean, the Pokemon Company's been doing leagues forever, right? I mean, league exists. You can't infiltrate schools and make them teach Pokemon cards in schools, but like leagues, right? Like after school leagues, like leagues exist. Pokemon TCG League, that's like the very first thing that the Pokemon Company ever did. I mean, back in Toys R Us, right? Like think about Toys R Us League back in 1999. Like that's the very first thing that the Pokemon Company did was create TCG leagues. So like, yeah, that was certainly step one in like getting people to learn how to play. You got to promote the Wailord. You got Floatstone in hand. But like that didn't necessarily work because everybody was just obsessed with collecting. Hunter does not have the resources to win this game, straight up. No, Hunter overcooked, dude. Hunter got to 1 prize remaining. This is crazy. This might be like one of the craziest games ever played on stream, and I completely was yapping through it. I can't believe it. This is nuts. Just water energy to Wailord pass. You might as well, Hex. Like, what do you got to lose, right? Avery. Hunter's got, like, an energy. Is this a realistic? Does Hunter have, like, another energy recovery card available? There's an air balloon. There's air balloon and floatstone and scoop up net in Anthony's deck. But I think this Wailmer has 130 hit points. Holy cow, dude. There's no way, right? There's no way. Because, like, Hunter could draw. But it's going to be... Is this just going to be a deck? No, it's not going to be deck out. Because Anthony's not going to deck out. Because he's got Floatstone. And Hunter decks out. You've got to be kidding me, dude. Hunter cannot win. He is out of juice. I told you, the turn that... I mean, Hunter probably loses this game if he didn't. Hunter probably loses this game if he didn't do that scoop up net, I guess. But he still doesn't have the resources to win now. It's crazy. This is just so crazy. If both players are just scraping the bottom of the barrel. Tate and Liza, you've got to be joking me, Hunter. You got to be joking. And Anthony's just got to go attack, attack, right? Oh, my God. Hunter's got one card left in deck. Irida. And that is your game. Wow. An absolutely crazy match. Anthony emerging victorious in that one. What in the world? That was one of the craziest gym leader matches that we have ever witnessed on the stream. Absolutely. That was just craziness. I do think Hunter got a little greedy, but his deck was popping off. I mean, both players went after each other's Frostmoths. Oh my God, Hunter was able to rebuild a Baxcalibur, rebuild multiple whales. Like, good Lord, that was nuts. Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. What a whirlwind, chat. What a whirlwind. I love watching the GLC players yap it up. Oh, yeah. Let me see how many players we got tonight. I think it's a 4-rounder. Nothing like the back of Alex Carpenter's head. We'll see. All right, Ben. How many players? We see Ben doing the math for us. Thank you, Ben. $14. All right, bet. That's a 4-rounder, folks. 4 rounds. Here at Full Grip Games in beautiful Akron, Ohio. Gosh. Chuck asking, what are my favorite vintage Japanese cards? Golly. I mean, that's a tough one. All of the vintage Japanese cards look so good. They all look incredible. It's got to be Rocket Zapdos. It's got to be Rocket Zapdos, right? But everything from that era, like all like the Wizards of the Coast era stuff in Japanese is incredible. All of it. Like, let's see. I have a complete Team Rocket set in Japanese. That's probably, I don't know. Those are some of my favorites for sure. My huge Pokemon TCG collection. So many of these cards are gone now, dude. There, I got my First Ed complete Rocket set. I still got that, of course. Let's see, did I have the Japanese one? I don't think I had the Japanese one at this time. Let's see. No. So I have Team Rocket completely in Japanese. I mean, I love those cards. Those cards are sick. The Team Rockets cards are some of my favorites. Yeah, and then I've got a complete Gym Heroes and a complete Gym Challenge set as well. But yeah, it would have to be my favorite Japanese vintage cards would probably be like my yeah, talk about Rocket Zapdos, dude. I still got this guy. Oh yeah, dude. Yo, what's up, Jesse? I recently sold my birds. These birds. From Fire Red Leaf Green, PSA 10s. Dang, dude. My favorite Team Rocket card that I own other than Zapdos? That's a tough one. It probably would be... I think it would be the one from Brazil. The Brazil vlog. Yeah, it's got to be the Portuguese Rockets Mewtwo that I got in Brazil. It's got to be that one. Yeah. This one right here, dude. Yeah, that was so hype. Like, that was like a chase card of mine for such a long time, and then like finding one in Brazil, Rockets Mewtwo EX. That was like super hype. I also have, yeah, that might be it. I also have I ended up getting it graded because I just like get a lot of my cards graded now just because they're, at this point it's like they're just too expensive to not have in slabs. So it's like at one point, you know, if I, you know, at one point they're kind of like my life savings. So it's like I gotta have them slabbed up because, like, you know, like the Rayquaza Gold Star, like that card's got to, even though it's a 4, like my Rayquaza Gold Star's got to be in a slab, you know, like a lot of these old EX cards, got to have those slabbed up. They're just like worth too much. You know, I don't want them getting like bent or anything, you know, just something stupid. What's the most expensive retro deck we have built? Probably the fully reverse hollow Lugia Blastoise Steelix deck that we have. Have to be that. A fully reverse LBS deck. It's funny. Before Natalie and I were dating, we actually were going in on the LBS deck together to have as like part of a shared collection. It was like shortly before we started dating. I remember being like, we should build LBS, and she was like, it's way too expensive, and I was like, nah, it's fine. And then I remember going online, and I was able to buy like a couple. I found like a couple of nice mod play Blastoise EXs for like $20 a piece. $20, dude. I remember she was like, it's way too expensive. And yeah, this guy. I remember buying this card for $20, not Japanese either. So like, yeah, mod play ones, $20. So like that's like a few $100s now. But yeah, I bought my Blastoise EXs for $20. Natalie got the Lugia for $25. Yeah, I mean we built it probably in 2017. So like at this point, that is a long time ago. In the world of Pokemon TCG prices, that might as well be an eternity ago. 2017. But I also have a my other favorite Rockets card. I have like a Rockets Mewtwo from Gym Challenge in PSA 10. It's the unlimited one. But that's another one of my favorite cards for sure. One of my favorite Rocket cards. All right. All right, we've got player that I have not commentated over before. Chat, meet Heath Goodhart. It's 1-1 on the right. Versus Cameron, who's got some sweet new red hair. Dang. Looking fire. Literally get it because the hair's red. Well, yeah, that the hair is looking slick. For sure. I know Cam was very close to taking it all down with Dragon last week, and it looks like we've got ourselves a Dragon mirror in round number 3 of 4 here at Full Grip Games. Heath going to be playing first. Not only are both players playing Dragon, both players have opened Tatsugiri. With the Attract Customers ability, allows you to look at the top 6 cards of your deck and put a supporter you have there into your hand. I guess, thinking about Jesse's question, the most expensive retro deck that we have. I mean, it's not really a fair question because I think the most expensive retro deck was probably Zapdos Rayquaza Electrode because it had a Rayquaza Gold Star in it. And the Rayquaza Gold Star is worth like, I don't know, $8 to $9 grand right now, like $9 grand by itself. Like holistically, the most expensive retro deck we have is probably LBS. But I don't know. The Rayquaza is like a cheat code, right? But like we took the Rayquaza out of the deck to get it graded because it was worth too much. Like you just can't. I can't be shuffling a $9,000 card. You know, I just can't. Like that. It's just that's stupid. That's stupid. Stupid business. All right. Heath uses Attract Customers, finds the teammates, and doesn't look like he has another out to a basic Pokemon in his hand. Where Cam has got Koraidon and Colress's Tenacity can go search for a Stadium and an Energy card, and I fully expect that we're going to see a double Dragon. Oh my, and here it is with the escape rope, the Ultra Necrozma, exactly the way that exactly. This is exactly what Cam said. This is exactly what Cam said that they were doing all week last week. Cam got themselves into a situation where they had the Ultra Necrozma, but were not able to capitalize with it early on in the game last week. Cam was in the finals, lost a finals match. But now Cam is just screaming back again with that Ultra Necrozma fueled Dragon deck. And we see Cam's got the turn 1 Ultra Necrozma. Now, in order to actually use the Ultra Necrozma, you actually have to turn its ability off, right? Because Necrozma has got this ability that does not allow it to attack if you have 2 or fewer prize cards remaining, right? So you have to like have a Silent Lab in play. But then, I mean, we saw Cam was able to just go Silent Lab, double Dragon Energy, turn 1 Luster Downfall, just like that. And it's cool because like Ultra Necrozma, that's not a card that really anybody is playing in Dragon right now. Capable of doing 170 damage for 2 energy. You just have to have either a way to turn that ability off, or your opponent has to have 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. A Luster Downfall is, you know, inarguably a strong attack. 170 damage for 2 energy, and you get to discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. All right, now this is cool. Yeah, we've got... All right. I'm loving the random questions from chat tonight. That's honestly, it's sick. So let's keep that going. Yeah, what's the number 1... The number one type of card that I would want printed specifically for Gym Leader Challenge. Well, previously I would have told you that I wanted Claydol, right? Reprinted. Like some support for my fighting boys, right? I would have told you that fighting needed something. But now fighting, good God, they gave fighting some draw support. So that's kind of checked off the list. I'm no longer the number one thing. So now the number one thing that I would want for Gym Leader Challenge would be, it needs to be fire. Right? Like fire needs something. So what card solves fire? What card? I don't know if there's a single card. I don't know if there's a single card that can solve fire. Right? Like, I don't think that there's any one card that does it. No, you guys are thinking too broad strokes. Fire needs like an Ogie Dogie, or like a fire needs its own Ogie Dogie, or its own Snorlax, or its own Iron Boulder. It needs like a really, it needs a big basic bruiser for sure. It does. Because it's got a lot. I mean, fire could like, with the trainers that fire has available to it, fire could play like the big basic toolbox game, like kind of just like Dragon does. But it doesn't have like the it guy. It doesn't have a guy with the it factor, right? You've got like, let's just talk about like all the big basics, right? You've got Ogie Dogie. You've got Iron Boulder, right? You've got Snorlax. Both of them. You've got, in grass, it's like Torterra is kind of the, it's an evolved Pokemon, but Torterra is like the it factor in a grass deck, right? Like, I feel like this is like who are like the guys? Yeah, Metal has Zamazenta, right? Fire has like Gouging Fire is okay. I mean, Gouging Fire is like good for the back half of the game. Gouging Fire is like the same as Mewtwo, right? It's like good at the end of the game. All right, fine. Torterra, all right. Grass doesn't have the it big basic. But Fire's best one is Gouging Fire. I mean, but compare like Zamazenta to Gouging Fire, right? I mean, like, Zamazenta is way better. Gouging Fire is like okay. It really needs like a 2 energy guy. You got Chi-Yu. Oh, that's cool. Right clicks. Thanks. I didn't know that. You learn something new every day. Chi-Yu is like all right. Right. So Chi-Yu is like more of a revenge style attacker. Oh, you've got like Raging Bolt for Dragon, right, is like very obviously incredible, like big basic. And Fire just doesn't have like a big basic with like the it factor. It doesn't. It needs like a Boulder or like a Dogi. Fire like really wants one of these guys, right? You've got for water, you got Wishy Washy, 180 hit points. Yeah, grass has like Zarude is okay, Bulu is okay. Bulu. Tapu Boo Boo, dude. 220. Takes 4, but obviously that's more like 2 when you have your stage 2 Pokemon set up. But still, grass is stronger than fire right now. But grass does kind of have some of the same fire stuff going on in that, like, basically grass, fire, and water are all decks that like kind of need to be set up, like need to have setup, which is fine. That's fine. You know, like metal is a setup deck. You know, more like a stage 1 setup deck. Psychic is kind of like a stage 1 setup deck. But like, yeah, fire, water, and grass are kind of all like setup decks that require stage 2s. But like, and I think if you want to know, truthfully, you want to know what's happening in Gym Leader Challenge right now? Do you want to know what's happening? And I've had this thought quite a bit. You want to know what's happening? Is that the stage 2 Pokemon are not being power crept at the same rate that the basics are. They never have. But it's becoming increasingly evident because the basics are getting power crept at like a kind of absurd rate now, and the stage 2 Pokemon are not keeping up. It's kind of like when you look at like the game design of the Pokemon TCG, in order for a stage 2 Pokemon to come into play, you have to like spend multiple turns evolving it. You have to spend multiple deck spaces on the Pokemon required in order for it to get into play. You have to then attach energy to it, and if it gets knocked out, then you have to like recur the resources to get it back into play. So what's happening in Gym Leader Challenge right now is that the basic Pokemon can all of the best basic Pokemon can one-hit KO the best stage 2 Pokemon. That should not be a thing, right? In order for stage 2 Pokemon to be worth getting into play, they have to have an upside that is high enough so that the time and resources spent getting that Pokemon into play are worth the trade-off, right? And what's happening right now is that the best basic Pokemon can all one-hit KO the best stage 2 Pokemon. I'm looking at like Iron Boulder. Like in one of those games, we just saw an Iron Boulder knock out a Baxcalibur. Easy, right? Ogie Dogie, 170 damage for 2. Easily is knocking out almost all stage 2 Pokemon. Iron Boulder is almost knocking out almost all stage 2 Pokemon. Thumping Snore knocking out almost all stage 2 Pokemon. That certainly 220 damage. I can knock out all stage 2 Pokemon. This is knocking out Pokemon before they evolve into stage 2 Pokemon, which is kind of the same thing, right? Like Thunderburst Storm is just like sniping at, the evolving basics before they get to evolve up into stage 2 Pokemon. Wishy Washy is just really freaking big. He's just here because he's big. But realistically, it's not Wishy Washy, it's Kyogre. Is like the example, right? Kyogre can easily knock out all stage 2 Pokemon, right? Because you've got energy acceleration. Tapu Bulu can easily knock out all stage 2 Pokemon, even though it's a basic Pokemon. Can easily knock out stage 2 Pokemon. 220 damage, boom, no problem, right? So like design, there's a reason why Stage 2 usage is falling off in Gym Leader Challenge, generally speaking. It's because, look at these Stage 2 Pokemon. You got like Porygon Z, right? Like, dude, like Hunter just won with his Porygon Z crazy code list. Porygon Z has 130 hit points. It's a Stage 2 Pokemon with 130 hit points. What? Basic Pokemon have more than that now. Many of them, right? Even a Pokemon like Gallade, which is probably the most popular Stage 2 Pokemon. Like, you've got Gallade and Inteleon, you know, some of the most popular Stage 2 Pokemon. Gallade, 160 hit points, gets cleared by every single one of these guys, right? So then, if you're asking me, I have been saying this for a long time. Single prize Stage 2 Pokemon should have 250 hit points. I said it. I said it. There. I said it. Stage 2 single prize Pokemon should have 250 hit points. They should. That is the level that they're supposed to be at. That's the level. Like, in order for the power level of the game to be correct, your Stage 2, like your Gallade, should have 200 HP. Gallade should have 200 HP. All these Stage 2 Pokemon should have way more, right? All of them. No, this is just talking about I'm talking about the power level of basics and Stage 2 Pokemon in Gym Leader Challenge and the discrepancy, because the Pokemon Company has been power creeping basic Pokemon at a pretty extreme rate in the last handful of years, right? I mean, all of these basic Pokemon are just like really obscenely powerful, right? But they haven't been power creeping Stage 2 Pokemon in the same way. Stage 2 Pokemon a lot of times have useful abilities, but with all of the powerful trainer cards that you have access to in Gym Leader Challenge, you don't always need to have those abilities. You could just use powerful trainer cards instead. So, yes, and I have been saying this not just in the context of Gym Leader Challenge, but in the context of Standard as well. Because Standard is also in a place where single prize Stage 2 Pokemon are like not worth playing. They're just like really not. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, what? Like the most playable, you've got like Conkeldurr is like the most playable stage, not you. It's the most playable Stage 2 Pokemon in Standard format right now, and that's because it does 250 damage for free. I mean, like, okay, sure. Like, I guess, right? If you do 250 damage for free, I guess that's fine, right? 180 hit points. And it still loses to the best deck. Like, Conkeldurr is kind of a meme, honestly. I don't think that this deck is serious in Standard. Like, we actually talked about it on the most recent episode of Tag Team Podcast. It did just finish top 16 and top 32 at the Frankfurt Regional Championships, but it doesn't beat Gardevoir EX and it doesn't beat Dragapult EX. And if you just think about the way that the game is designed, you've got like Kirlia, right? Like, how does a Kirlia with 90 HP, how does a Kirlia with so few hit points evolve into a 310 hit point EX? How does a Kirlia with 90 hit points evolve into a 360 hit point Mega Pokemon EX? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you know, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, 70 hit point Riolu evolves into 340 hit, which I do think that that's better than having the 220 hit point V Pokemon that just sit there and do nothing and then evolve into V-Stars. Like, it's better than that. Like, 220 hit point stupid V Pokemon that evolves into stupid VMAX. Like, it's way better than that. But the discrepancy is ridiculous. The discrepancy, like... And I actually talk about this. Where did I talk about this? Did I talk about this in the... I forget where I talked about this, but... Basically, if you take Gardevoir as an example... Like, back in the day, all right, you had your single your single prize Gardevoir had 100 hit points. Stage 2 Pokemon with 100 hit points, right? And then your 2 prize Gardevoir had 150 hit points. Okay. One more prize, 50% more hit points. But now you've got your single prize Gardevoir, 150 hit points. Okay. A similarly balanced Gardevoir EX to the original EX Pokemon would have 230 hit points. Not 310. Right? Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, the single prize Pokemon have not scaled with the multi-prize Pokemon. The single prize Stage 2 Pokemon have not scaled with everything else in the Pokemon TCG. They have not scaled, right? The rule box Pokemon have scaled like crazy, and even the basic Pokemon are starting to scale, right? Like your Ogie Dogies, your Iron Boulders, your Snorlaxes, those are all scaling. But like your Gardevoirs, your Stage 2 single prize Pokemon, they are not scaling. They have not been scaled. So Gym Leader Challenge is like, basically, you're looking at Gym Leader Challenge and you're like, wow, okay, it's turning into a big basic format. And that's because the Pokemon Company has not printed Stage 2 Pokemon that are big enough. Stage 2 single prize Pokemon. So let's do this. Let's do the equation. All right. Let me get out. How do you do this math? Let's see. So 310 hit points divided by 3. Gardevoir, single prize Gardevoir should have 200 hit points. Is basically like, in order for this card to have the same scale in comparison to this card that it used to have back when Pokemon actually cared about game design, then your single prize Gardevoir should have 200 hit points. And that should be on the low end of things, because Gardevoir is like a typically low HP Pokemon, right? So that would be like a low HP Stage 2 Pokemon should be 200 hit points should be a low HP Stage 2 Pokemon. But like your high HP Stage 2 Pokemon should be like 250. So like your Torterra, for instance, like remember when Torterra came out, it was crazy because 190 was like unheard of, right? I mean, this is literally like brilliant stars. Like 190 was crazy. And it was like, wow, this thing can do like 250 damage and has 190 hit points. This card got power crept into oblivion and is still like, this card was released 3 years ago at this point and is still like the biggest Stage 2 Pokemon. Like, you could have looked at Torterra and been like, wow, they're going to start power creeping Stage 2s. Like, no, they weren't. Like, Pump Fake, no, they're not. It's actually just going to be all basics. Right? Like, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You think I'm just, cherry picking? Let's look at Blaziken. How do you fix it? Single prize Stage 2 Pokemon, 250 hit points. That's how you fix it. Blaziken, same exact thing. 100 hit points for the single prize. 150 hit points for the EX. Go to like modern day. 320 hit points here. 170, it's like closer, but still, it should be like 210. Like 210 is the correct number, not 170. So you could just see how much they're bloating, like. And if they put these single prize stage 2 Pokemon, if they gave them like 200 to 250 hit points, then they actually become interesting, because once you invest the resources into setting them up, then they don't get knocked out in one hit by basic Pokemon. Like stage 2 Pokemon should be able to maybe interact with stage 2 Pokemon, but basic Pokemon should not be one-hit KOing stage 2 Pokemon consistently. That's like a general, like a very big general problem with the Pokemon TCG right now, is that your basic Pokemon are just very, not just basic Pokemon can one-hit KO stage 2 Pokemon, is that basic Pokemon very easily dispose of stage 2 Pokemon. So yeah, your single prize stage 2 Pokemon need to have like 250 hit points. Like your Garganacl, a joke. Like playing these cards, a joke to play a card like this. In standard format, a joke. A joke, right? Like you're not playing this stuff. 340 hit points. Yeah, I mean, this guy should have 200 something. Can I show an example of comparable power creep, even if it's only a stage 1? There is none. For evolutions, there is none. Like Wailord, maybe. Like literally this Wailord. Maybe. Well, like the original Wailord. All right, so let's see. The original Wailord EX had 200 hit points. The very first Wailord single prize card had 120 hit points. And then like your single prize Wailord now has 240, but there is no, how much HP do you think a Wailord EX would have right now? 400. like legitimately, imagine the Pokemon Company prints a Wailord EX. Stage 1 Wailord. How much HP do you think it would have? Like, how much HP? Right? Like, we're just guessing. Probably be like 400. Probably be like freaking 400. Yeah, it would be like at least 340. At least 340. You couldn't put it at 200, at 300, because you've got like Archaludon. Archaludon's got 300, right? And like Archaludon is not as big as Wailord is like the biggest. So it has to be bigger than Archaludon. It'd be like probably 350, 340, right? You got Magikarp and Wailord. This was the first Pokemon, the first basic Pokemon ever printed with 300 hit points. And that was 6 years ago, chat. 6 years ago. Magikarp and Wailord Tag Team GX was printed 6 years ago. 6 years ago. It's crazy. It's madness. Doesn't even make sense. So no other basic has more than 300. It's true, but they did just print Mega Kangaskhan. Mega Kangaskhan enters the conversation. Right? Yo, what's up, Fortitude? Sub in the 13 months. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. What does this say? Your Pokemon with a Rotom in their name may have up to 2 tools attached to them. Okay. How do I feel about basic damage outputs like Screamtail? The Screamtail doesn't bother me because it's like very, like Screamtail is very dependent, right? Like it doesn't matter. Screamtail is only broken in the context of Gardevoir. Like this card's not even good in Gym Leader Challenge. I appreciate you, Fortitude. Thank you. Like this card is not that good. Like it's really not. It's good in context of Gardevoir accelerating infinite energy into play and putting as many damage counters on the Pokemon as you want. Like, okay, sure. In that very hyper specific context, it's very good. But like outside of that, this is not a good card. So like I don't really that stuff doesn't bother me because it will only be in effect like during its time in standard. Like this Screamtail has no impact on Gym Leader Challenge because it's not that good of a card, really. It's good in the context of Gardevoir, but like outside of that, it doesn't really matter. So from a game design perspective, it's like, sure, they wanted Gardevoir to have some crazy tool like this because like that's just a standard, it's a standard thing, right? Like ultimately it has no impact on the game long term because it's going to come in a standard, it's going to be a thing, and then it's going to rotate and then whatever, right? In the greater context of like the card pool at large, it doesn't matter. But yeah, we got 300 hit point basic Pokemon coming back. With Mega Kangaskhan. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, 300 hit point basic right there. So, like, yeah, if I could have one wish for Gym Leader Challenge format, it would be that the Pokemon Company started printing Stage 2 Pokemon with the same power creep as the basic Pokemon that they've been power creeping lately. Because the game is better when the Pokemon are balanced. And that's kind of what I've talked about time and time and time again on this channel. I talk about it constantly. Like, it's the reason why the North American International Championships in 2017 was such a great format. It's the reason why like that format it's the reason why this format is like largely considered to be one of the greatest formats, right? Because you had your basic 2 prize Pokemon had like a very fair amount of HP, 180 hit points. And you got to keep in mind, like at this point, 2017, 180 hit point 2 prizers at the beginning of the Sun and Moon era, right? But then you go and you look at like Mewtwo EX, right? Next Destinies, when like EX Pokemon were first getting printed, like your big basic EX Pokemon. 2013, it was printed before that. Yeah. 2012. Right? So for like 5 years, they kept the HP level of those basic 2 prize Pokemon the same for 5 years, right? And at the tail end of that power creep, right, is when things got really good because you've got your 2 prize Pokemon have a very fair amount of HP, your 2 prize basics, right? Your single prize stage 1 Pokemon can like deal a lot of damage to keep them in check, right? Like you had stage 1 single prize Pokemon were very good. Garbodor was obviously one of them. I played this Zoroark deck, right? Mind Jack, you could deal up. If your opponent had a full bench, you were doing 160 damage for 1 energy, and then with like a choice band, you were doing 190. That's if your opponent had a full bench. So like, then you would play cards like Professor Kukui to like boost your damage a little bit more. but you would like miss knockouts sometimes. I mean, that's just like you miss knockouts sometimes. Because that's what makes a good format, is like if you miss knockouts sometimes. It's like, turns out when you don't just one hit KO everything, like that's when the format is really good, actually. Right? When you actually have to get the damage counters out of your bag and put them on the guys. Right? We had stage 2 Pokemon that were very good. I mean, this is kind of like a very unique, the Greninja deck. You know, you had Greninja, which only had 130 hit points, but could ability lock, and then you could kind of like level it up into this break Pokemon that had like a crazy snipe ability, and it really rewarded that kind of like slow setup strategy. It was like very good. You had your stage 2 Pokemon were very balanced in comparison to like everything else. Like this, a 2-prize stage 2 Pokemon with 240 hit points. Now, your stage 2 prize Pokemon have like 300, 320, 310 HP, but like 240, right? Like a stage 2 prize or 240 was like a very reasonable ceiling to have. Because look at like Vikavolt, right? Like, all right, so Vikavolt, Vikabulu, that was a deck here, right? So like Vikabulu. So look at like Vikavolt. Vikavolt had 150 hit points. And then like your stage 2 prize Pokemon only had 90 more hit points than that. Which is like not that crazy, right? Like it was like much more reasonable. The HP discrepancy was much more reasonable. Now, stage 2 Pokemon have about 160, 170 hit points, but the 2 prize stage 2 Pokemon have like 320 hit points. The discrepancy is much larger now. So like that's been like the general design fail of the Pokemon TCG in the last 10 years, is that they've been power creeping certain things without power creeping other things. So now you have like basically stage 2 Pokemon like don't really exist in a healthy way in the game right now. And you could go and be like, well, Conkeldurr. Like, no, Conkeldurr is like an exception, not the rule, because it's a stupid stage 2 Pokemon that does 250 damage for free, and it still doesn't beat good players with the good decks. Okay? It doesn't. It's going to beat like your Raging Bolts and your Goldengos, but it's not going to beat a single Guardy or a single Dragapult. So what made these formats so enjoyable was that one-hit KOs were not guaranteed. The HP totals were all much more closely aligned. So stage 1 Pokemon, basic Pokemon, stage 2 Pokemon, basic Pokemon GX, stage 1 Pokemon GX, and stage 2 Pokemon GX, and even break Pokemon, stage 1 Pokemon break and stage 2 Pokemon break, they all played harmoniously together because they all had a reasonable amount of HP. That's what makes, and they had a reasonable amount of HP and they did a reasonable amount of damage, right? And it's not like big basic decks didn't exist. Let me introduce you to Volcanion. Volcanion was the big basic deck, okay? Big basic decks did exist. Volcanion did base 130 damage for 3 energy, had 180 hit points, but then could boost its damage output with Steam Up, right? You had to discard a fire energy, did 30 more damage. So if you steamed up 3 times, you were doing plus 90. That's 220 damage. Like, it was possible to hit that much, right? You also had Fighting Fury Belt. Could buff its HP, you know, bring it up to 220, make it really big. I mean, this is like your big basic deck, right? This is exactly what it was. 160 damage for 3. Nitro Tank GX, accelerate 5 fire from your discard pile to your Pokemon. Like, this was your quintessential big basic deck. But the one-hit KOs were not guaranteed, and it wasn't like the BDI. This was a very cool deck, but people loved Volcanion. Volcanion was sick. Volcanion was like a balanced and fair big basic deck. It just was. And there was a lot of people who swore by it and loved it, but it had its weaknesses too. It wasn't just like completely broken. And you could have decks like Greninja would typically destroy Volcanion. Though I do remember there was a regional finals actually where I think Ryan Sablehouse beat a Greninja deck in the finals of the regionals with the Volcanion. But that was like a huge upset. Like that wasn't typical. So God, you had like this Gustavo Wada with just this crazy stage 1 Alolan Ninetales GX. I mean, like 210 hit points for a stage 1 GX. It's like very reasonable. Your stage 1 Pokemon EX now have like 260, 280 hit points. And again, like nothing else has really been crept that much, right? Like your stage 1 support Pokemon still have 90 hit points. Still have 100 hit points, right? Like none of that has been like power crept. If you look at, you know, like let's look at just some random stage 1 Pokemon. Fracture, 100 hit points. Ferrothorn's like a metal guy, so he's got a little more, 140. It's like pretty big. Mandibuzz, 110. Zoroark, 120. Garbodor, okay, like that's 140. That's pretty big for a Garbodor, if I'm being honest. Krokorok, 100. Liepard, 110. I mean, like generally speaking, though, I mean Terrakian's got like as much HP. Like basics have as much HP as stage 1s, right? Landorus, 130. Crustle, that's pretty big. 150 first, that's pretty big. That's pretty big. But like generally speaking, the basic Pokemon are way behind in the power creep department. This Golurk is really big. Maybe they're trying lately. This Golurk is quite big. But still not as big as it needs to be. I would argue that like a Golurk, this Golurk should probably have 200 hit points. Like to actually have like an appropriate amount of HP for what the game requires. You know, like this Electros should probably have 220 hit points. Even when they're... Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Beartic, 150 hit points for a stage 1. That's a lot. I mean, really, it seems like lately, maybe they're trying to, like, increase HP totals because they're, like, embarrassingly far behind everything else. I mean, look at like Black and White, right? Emerging powers, Black and White. Like here, your stage 1 Pokemon, 90 hit points, 90 hit points, 100 hit points, 90 hit points, 120 hit points. These were 15 years ago, like 14 years ago, right? 90 hit points. And it's like, you're telling me in 14 years, the HP totals have increased by 30? That's what you're telling me? 30? And like everything else has increased by like 100. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah, I think that the thing is now, like, I don't really care if you have to power creep your game so that people buy the new cards. Like, I don't really care. Whatever Pokemon decides like is necessary for marketing. Like, listen, that is what it is. That's not my business. But the game should still be balanced. My beef is that the game is no longer balanced in the way that they use. It seemed like they really used to care about balancing the 2 prize Pokemon and the 3 prize Pokemon. Well, never the 3 prize Pokemon. But it seemed like they used to care about balancing the 2 prize Pokemon with everything else. But now it seems like they do not care at all. They're just like, wow, just make the big guys really big and everything else just whatever, dude. Like, whatever. All right, our 4th and final round of Gym Leader Challenge League Night is underway. We've got our 3-0s here on the feature match table. Cam back at it again with their Dragon deck versus Anthony with Water. Who is going to take it all home? Who is going to earn their badge tonight? Will it be Anthony Saya or Cameron Armstrong? Cameron Armstrong has already earned a colorless badge. This would be Cam's 2nd badge of the 2026 season per morsemakes.com. So big shout out to Ben Morse if you want to keep up with all of the results from our Gym Leader Challenge League. You can check out morsemakes.com. As we see, Cam already has their colorless badge. And here we go. Our 4th and final round this evening is underway. Cam opens with Tatsugiri. Gets to attract some customers. And also has a Buddy Buddy Poffin. I know Cam has got a very unique take on Dragon. Playing the Ultra Necrozma. They've also got Dracloak in their deck. We see Evolution Incense there. You know, some focus on getting Cam Wayne to play this Ultra Ball. You can tell it's a tough discard. I don't think they actually want to play it. They've got Guzma in hand, so it's possible for them to start popping off this next turn. But Anthony's got Chaotic Swell in his hand. So Chaotic Swell could come down and prevent any of those maybe Silent Lab, Ultra Necrozma shenanigans that we have seen earlier in the day. Also has an N. I think that Cam's hand is particularly good with Dracloak and Guzma in hand. So if I'm Anthony, I slam down that Chaotic Swell now. I think that there are really, you don't want like Parallel City or the Silent Lab to come down from Cam. So Cam does have Silent Lab, Colress's Tenacity. It looks like... Oh, Anthony does find Brooklet, though, so maybe the choice not to put down the Brooklet, or not to put down the Silent Lab is really paying off. Anthony also has the fish, Basculin. And we might see some crew gathering going on with Brooklet Hill to help Anthony really fill his bench up. Just going to take a quick look at his deck and take note of what is prized. That will be quite important. It looks like our Pokeball table is really taking a hit here, so I do apologize, folks, as it is a little off center and crooked. So, listen. One day maybe I'll bolt the table down to the concrete floor, but until then, I'm sorry. I try my hardest. All right, Basculin comes down. Escape rope. Going to push that Tatsugiri out of the active spot. Basculin front and center. And here comes the crew. Wailmer and Snum. Looks like Cam has Dracloak. Use that recon directive. Look at the top 2 cards of the deck. And pick one. Cam has also got Quick Ball. Can go get a basic Pokemon on the deck. I'm sure Cam would like to find an attacker at this point. Gotta say, water has been looking really good on stream tonight. We did have an all-water finals in the Destined Rivals. I think it was all-water finals, right? The Destined Rivals GLC 3K. Cam's got Raging Bolt, Colress's Tenacity, and see, this is why I was like, all right, maybe the Chaotic Swell should get just slammed down, all right? Because this Parallel City hurts. It hurts, and arguably, like, the Brooklyn Hill wasn't needed. You found the Basculin. Yeah, this Parallel City is pain. Now, does Cam have a switch out? Got Fighting Fury Belt for their Raging Bolts. And Double Dragon Energy, but I don't think that they have a way to pivot this Dracloak out of the active, so that's just going to be a pass. Crispin in hand for next turn. Anthony's got Frostmoth, Wailord, 1 card in hand, but I don't know that it's a good one. And just has to pass. No! You can see Anthony just not loving that, knowing that this Raging Bolt is without a doubt coming into the active spot this next turn with the Thunderburst Storm attack, which does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon for each energy attached to this Pokemon. And just like that, the Frostmoth is gone. Anthony does find Timer Ball off the top. If this is double tails. Oh, does find a heads. So is going to be able to search out Octillery and start to draw some cards, but the damage has already been dealt by this Raging Bolts, dealing 90 damage to the bench Snom, or the bench Frostmoth, to knock it out. And now Anthony does not have energy acceleration available But at least with Octillery, Anthony will have an opportunity to fill his hand to 5 cards with the Abyssal Hand. And Anthony is certainly hoping to find a supporter. I think that would be the dream. All right, Abyssal Hand for 5 finds Avery and some energy that he cannot freely rein into play. So Anthony's going to thin the deck first. I think increases odds of drawing into the good stuff. Plays the Professor's Letter. Just go get some energy out of the deck. And then we'll probably play Avery as his supporter for turn. And just hoping that... it's tough, right? Like, what other... I mean, you can gather the crew, I guess. Here comes Avery for 3. No additional effect. And the thing is, if you use Gather the Crew, you kind of know that one of those targets is getting smoked, right? And this Wailord, you're kind of just having to manually attach to it. Oh, but I think Anthony does play Hisuian Basculegion. That's right, I forgot about this card. Hisuian Basculegion coming in clutch and can Grudge Dive for 120 damage. Does not take the knockout. 140 with the Muscle Band. Still doesn't take the knockout because this Raging Bolt has a Fighting Fury belt attached to it. But Grudge Dive will also confuse the Raging Bolt. So this is actually really big, and actually, you know, big props to Anthony. I think the Muscle Band is warranted on the Basculegion, just in case you do end up finding a Field Blower, right? Then you could take the knockout on this Raging Bolt. But this is like a really big turn from Anthony, finding the... Excuse me, can we please confuse the... yeah, fully confused. It's got to be upside down. Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. Yeah. Big play, though, from Anthony. Usually, you don't expect the Basculin to do anything. Wow! And just like that, the Escape Rope. Whew! That hurts. That hurts Anthony a lot. Makes it so that this Raging Bolt can come back in. But it's this tough situation, right? Because both of the Pokemon on Anthony's board are big, so I suppose with an additional energy attachment, the Raging Bolt could go and knock out the benched Basculegion with a Thunderburst Storm. Oh, that's really cool. Dialga in the list as well, with Metal Energy in the deck for Necrozma. It's a really neat inclusion. The Dialga has the Buster Tail attack for a Psychic Metal and Colorless, does 160. And Time Manipulation, you get to stack your deck with 2 cards. The first attack, 1 Colorless Energy. And it looks like the Raging Bolt does have a 4th energy attached to it. This is crazy. So I think we are going to see the Raging Bolt Thunderburst Storm to knock out the Basculegion. Anthony does have Air Balloon in hand. This is a really good play from Cam. Obviously, you want to strand the Octillery, knock out the threat. But Anthony does have that Air Balloon, had pinched it the turn before, and waited for this moment. We got Abyssal Hand for 3. Finds teammates And teammates is huge. You could teammates for the field blower and remove all 4 of these energy from Cam's board. And level ball to help set up an additional Pokemon. So this is actually a really big turn for Anthony. Level ball to go get Snom. And then teammates can go get any 2 cards out of the deck. If Field Blower is in the deck, and I don't know if Field Blower is in the deck. Is Field Blower in there? There is, yes. Field Blower is in the deck. So it seems like it would be a really good turn to teammates for Field Blower, and then you just want to get some other Pokemon to kind of put in the active spot. Because you don't want to put Snom in the active. You don't want to put Wailord in the active. It's got to be Field Blower. You have to remove this. You have to remove this Raging Bolt from play. So it's got to be Field Blower, and it's got to be a way to get another Pokemon, like Lapras or something, just literally anything to just like chuck into the active spot. I think grabbing a supporter for next turn is really not necessary because you have the Octillery. I understand what he's going for. Like, he just wants to... Grabbing the Raihan does guarantee an attack next turn, but only if... it's only if Cam actually takes a return knockout, right? And, like, who are you expecting to get knocked out? Are you sacking the Octillery? Like, that seems ill-advised, right? I guess you retreat into the Snom and you just say, like, all right, like, go fish, right? Just, like, do your thing. The Raihan grab's not bad. Like, I get it, right? Because it does... If you retreat into Snom here, and then if Cam knocks out the Snom, then you go Raihan, Wailord, go. And that feels good, right? Like, you might be able to just, like, mount your comeback in this game just like that. But then again, getting the Snom knocked out again also feels really bad. So Tatsugiri is going to attract some customers. And finds Raihan. With the Raihan, it can almost guarantee that we will see an attack launched. Maybe not, though. Right? Double Dragon Energy is down. It looks like, are we going Raging Bolt again? Just back at it again. With the Raging Bolts, U-turn board going to Tatsugiri, going to give it a free pivot, and if Cam's got a Lightning Energy in their hand, can just go right back in with Raging Bolt to take a knockout. And there is the Lightning Energy. Raging Bolt is live to take a KO on this Snom, but again, Anthony, and maybe, you know, this line by Anthony is looking brilliant now to grab the Raihan. I would have thought that the Raging Bolt was kind of, or that the Snom was safe from Raging Bolt for a turn, but it turns out I was just completely wrong. So I do like Anthony's decision. I think Anthony's decision to grab Raihan off of that teammate's last turn could end up being a game-winning decision for Anthony. An absolutely brilliant play. As now, Cam will have to contend with a 240 hit point Wailord getting fully powered up. Thanks to Raihan. Raihan is a supporter It can only be played if one of your Pokemon was knocked out during the opponent's last turn. You get to attach a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your Pokemon in play. Then search your deck for whatever card you want and put it into your hand. Have to imagine that Anthony would like to start setting up an additional attacker, right? Like, the Wailord is good, but you can't... The Wailord will eventually get knocked out. There's the 4th energy on Wailord. Chaotic Swell. Abyssal for 1. And Wailord is coming in with a Hydro Pump for 210 damage. And Anthony goes down to 4 prizes remaining, but Cam's only got 3, so Cam's still in the lead. But now Cam has to figure out a way to deal with the behemoth Wailord in the active spots. Professor's Letter, just going to grab the metal energy out of the deck. And here we go with attract customers. Which customers can we attract today? I think there's a Lucamine. Cloak finds a counter stadium, but Chaotic Swell does negate that stadium from coming into play. Looks like Cam may not have an attack this turn, just has to play Lucamine, right? There is no energy acceleration on board or anything like that, so Raihan was kind of the best energy accelerator that Cam has available, and as we can see, that is exactly what Cam is going back for with this Lucamine, both Raihan and Sada's Vitality. Sada's Vitality can be used to juice extra energy onto your ancient Pokemon like Raging Bolt and Koraidon, both of which Cam plays. And the Night Stretcher, I think, is going to bring that Raging Bolt right on back. And we can see Cam has found a lot of success with this Dragon list, leaning into the very strong attacks of that Raging Bolt Pokemon. But then immediately Anthony finds Iono, finally. A hand disruption supporter. You can send those powerful cards, Raihan and Sada's Vitality, to the bottom of Cam's deck, while this Wailord continues to go unanswered for now. If Cam wants to attack with this Ultra Necrozma, the Ultra Necrozma cannot attack unless the opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. And Anthony's got 3. It is a tie ball game right now. Hexmaniac will turn off the Ultra Burst ability, so either Hexmaniac or Silent Lab, both options that Cam plays to turn off the Ultra Burst ability to allow them to use Luster Downfall. Dracloak finds Trainer's Mail and Pokegear. Looks like Trainer's Mail is going to be the choice. Here we go. Trainer's Mail. Look at the top 4 cards. Can pick a trainer you find there. Put it into your hand. And what do you know? Here we go. It's Raihan. Raihan and Sada's Vitality both. Raihan seems like it's going to be a good one, though. Which would allow Cam to get an additional energy into play. But they do also need to find Silent Lab if they want to attack with this Ultra Necrozma. So maybe it's a Raihan, attach an additional energy to Raging Bolt, go search for Silent Lab out of the deck. And that's probably why Cam was intent to bump the Chaotic Swell last turn to pave the way for Silent Lab this turn. And here it is. Silent Lab is in play, which turns off that Ultra Burst ability, allowing Ultra Necrozma to Luster Downfall for 170 damage. And discard an energy. That does set Anthony back an energy attachment. And with the Raging Bolt getting powered up on the bench, it is a scary prospect. But Anthony does have some really efficient attackers in this deck, right? It's just Frostmoth as an energy accelerator to help get Wailord going. And then everybody else is an efficient attacker. We've got the Palafin as a 1 energy attacker. We've got the Basculegion is a 1 energy attacker. Looks like Irida is going to grab Palafin. Palafin does have that attack. Does 130 damage for 1 energy. Which will clear the Raging Bolt on Cam's bench. So you can see there's definitely a path here for Anthony to take. This very interesting water list. And the secondary card, the item off of Irida, looking like it's going to be a Rescue Stretcher. Rescue Stretcher can maybe get an additional backup out of the discard pile. And it looks like maybe Snom's going to be the choice. Rescue Stretcher for Snom. Splash energy to Wailord, which will bring it back if it gets knocked out. And Hydro Pump. For 210 damage, Anthony takes the lead for the first time in this final game. 2 prizes to 3. Dracloak from Cam, Recon Directive, finds Evolution Incense, and Guzma Hala. He's also got Tatsugiri. Raihan is available. But again, at this point, Anthony's Wailord has wreaked so much havoc. Anthony just has to find out a way to take 2 more prize cards, and the Palafin is already in hand, ready to go for next turn, as Cam just streams Raihan. Again, I think this is, the 3rd Raihan that's going to get played this game. We saw a Raihan We saw Lusamine for Raihan a second time, and then Versus Seeker to bring Raihan back again, and this is the third Raihan that Cam has played. Needs to have a fighting energy, though. Or I guess the Luminous will work. Can't use Tatsugiris to track customers right now because of Silent Lab in play, so I always forget about that. Nasty Silent Lab. Cam does need a fighting out, or they will not be able to attack with a Raging Bolt, so maybe they have one in hand. You have to imagine that Cam wants to, yeah, they do have a fighting energy in hand. You have to imagine that they want to knock out this Wailord for sure. The fighting energy, oh, Cam cannot attack right now. This is a huge misplay. Cam just messed this up. Walkie-talkie ready. Oh, what a disastrous. This is, yep. All right, good catch. Yep. Oh, and you can see the look of disappointment on Cam's face. They came all the way here to the final match. No, and just a simple misplay like that does not have the correct energy. There was even a fighting energy in the discard pile. It was just laziness. It was just a misplay. That's just all there was. All there is to it. Oh, no. And Cam has been working so hard on this Dragon deck. This is the second week in a row that Cam has made it to the final round, and that's the scoop. Oh, and Anthony is going to be victorious in our final game. What a devastating ending for Cam right there at the end. Second week in a row, losing the final round with their very cool dragon build. And you gotta imagine that Cam is gonna be kicking themselves after that one. And, you know, I'm not too sad because it means that's one more week that I'll get to see Cam's cool dragon deck at Gym Leader Challenge League, right? Like, I talked to Cam about it last week. Cam was not that beat up about it last week, losing in the finals, because Cam really likes their dragon deck. They're like, oh, yeah, well, it's cool. I'll just get to play it again next week, and, you know, I really like this deck. But this week, losing in the finals again? Probably a little tougher the second time around, especially with a misplay like that. But, you know, Cam has been progressing really well in the Pokemon TCG. Their recent convert from Magic the Gathering. So, you know, they've just been kind of like learning the Pokemon TCG in the last, I don't know, 6 months. It's been really cool to watch for sure. And Cam is certainly been performing quite well in Gym Leader Challenge League lately. So it's been exciting to watch. Congratulations to Anthony for winning his first badge of the 2026 season with a very unique water build. Really cool to see some single energy attackers there, Palafin, Basculegion, but then just the Frostmoth, Wailord, kind of just focusing all that energy in on getting the Wailord powered up, and then everything else just kind of being like a very low energy investment, with the major focus of the deck being on that Wailord. Definitely cool. If you want to keep up with results from our Gym Leader Challenge League, deck lists, all that, definitely make sure to check out morsemakes.com. Credit to Ben Morse, who keeps up all of our Full Grip Games GLC bookkeeper, if you will. Keeps all of our Gym Leader Challenge stats. Not that. Keeps all of our Gym Leader Challenge stats and deck lists posted on his website. So you can see who has earned what badges in the 2026 season so far. This was week 9, so we have our 9th badge hitting the board. And of our 9 weeks so far, we have 8 different badge winners, which is really exciting. And our first water badge of the 2026 season. So that'll be it for me tonight. You guys all have a wonderful evening. Just a quick reminder, I'm not going to be streaming during the week next week because I am going to be prepping for the Mega Evolution 6K doubleheader on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm not going to stream next Thursday Gym Leader Challenge, and I'm not going to be streaming next Wednesday during the day. I'm going to be working on editing videos and getting all those done. And then Saturday and Sunday next week. So the next time I'll be live will be for the Mega Evolution Standard 3K on Saturday, September 27th, and the Mega Evolution Gym Leader Challenge 3K on Sunday, September 28th, here at Full Grip Games in Akron, Ohio. Can't wait to see you guys there. Have a great night. See ya.